Good morning. Welcome to Radio Friends on Friday, January 29th. Yep, that's just about through the first month of 2021. I'm still getting used to saying 2021. And Larry Brown is over there across the studio from me. Good to have you here, Larry.
Good morning.
Yeah, and Happy New Year to you.
Well, thank you.
You don't have your guitar with us today.
No.
You've got just your mouth.
Yes.
Which means it's going to be a story, right?
Hopefully that something will guide that mouth to...
That didn't sound right coming out that way, did it? Anyway, Larry Brown has got a story for, and this isn't tied to any holiday,
It's
right?
just for fun. I thought, boy, this is a season in which we need a break, and so this is
Don't
totally...
we know? Don't we? Okay, so what's the
totally
name of the
off,
story?
Well, you'll have to find out.
All right, so here is Larry Brown. I don't know the name of the story. We will all find out together.
But I'll give you some clues.
Okay, take it.
I just was recently at the River and Prairie Story Weavers Winter Retreat. That's a story guild centered in the Kansas City area, but people from a multi-state area belong. And our winter retreat over the years has been known as the Chicken Festival because of the popularity of chicken stories. Well, of course, this year we couldn't meet in person, so it was a Zoom conference. But I wanted to share with you my contribution to the chicken metaphor of that event. Now, some of you may not know this, but I had worked for a number of years for the Federal Investigation of Birds Agency, FIB, and worked specifically in OVID, which was the Office of Identification and Verification Department for strange phenomena related to birds. And I was trained in Chicken Special Investigations Poultricide Unit, CSIPU. And of course, I had retired from this a number of years ago, but occasionally get called back. Now, some of you may recall some of my more famous cases that I cracked a number of years ago, of course, was the serial killer, case number 60210. There was Vladonia impala. That was the vampire chickens case that I cracked, case number 1190. And there was Chicken Charlie, which was a local case here in Missouri. There was the golden rooster of Esidarop case that I had cracked, which was an international situation. And more recently was the Poultrygeist case that I cracked. But occasionally I get called back out of retirement and had just finished a case recently that I'd volunteered, and I went to look at some of our files we have in the office. Now, we have cases that are not under current investigation. They either are very random about character or location or time frame, or frankly are just too weird to handle. And we throw them in a file called the Chicken X files, or CHX files. Around the office, we kind of jokingly call that the Chicks Mix, or sometimes we call them the Chicks files. Well, I had some time, and I was looking through them, and I spotted a number of cases that caught my attention for some reason. There had been an earthquake outside of the city of Delicias in Chihuahua, Mexico, and there was associated with it were lots of bird sounds. Now, you know that birds are silent before, during, and after earthquakes, so this is very unusual. And then there was another incident I looked at, second incident, that happened in the Lecho Guia cavern system. That's the sister cavern system to Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico. It's much larger than Carlsbad, 145 miles of map passageway. And explorers there had found bird droppings miles and miles from any known entrance to the cave. Then I noticed a file. It was a chicken confinement feeding operation outside of Henrose, Colorado. That's just a little bit east of Canyon City. And water table had dropped dramatically, causing problems with their water pumping operations. Then I noticed, outside of Casper, Wyoming is the Powder River Basin coal mining area, big open pit coal mines. There was an essential geyser of feathers that had happened out there in that coal mining area, just an eruption of feathers. And then I noticed that there's another case outside of Flaxville, Montana, where during the night some cattle had been stampeded, and folks were online talking about it was a flock of birds that caused it. Very unusual. Normally at night it's thunderstorms. And then there was a case in Saskatchewan, up at Black Lake, where the uranium mines are, that half a mile underground, they heard bird sounds. Now, what caught my attention was all of these incidents were falling roughly along the 105th meridian, and all happening within the years 2016 and 2018. So I immediately got funding and started a team doing research. When we did the DNA analysis on the bird droppings in New Mexico and the feathers in Wyoming, the DNA was from the species Gallus antiquus, which was a species believed had gone extinct tens of thousands of years ago. Well, I immediately got a team in the field and we started investigations. We couldn't get into the caverns in New Mexico, but we were able to go into an abandoned well in Colorado, do some investigation there, and we were able to go into the coal mine in Wyoming. We were not able to go into the uranium mine in Canada. And we were astounded. What we discovered was miles and miles, perhaps hundreds of miles, of small tunnels underneath the surface of the ground, about a half a mile down, stretching from Canada to Mexico. Well, when I got back to Washington, D.C., I was totally crushed, disappointed. Funding cuts, staff changes, the whole project had been shut down. It was just like I was said, goodbye, you are the weakest link. So what I'm here to say is, if you're concerned about national security, concerned about education and safety of the population, then I suggest that you check out #Chickens Underground and see if we can't get funding restored or find private foundation funding. But I have hopes maybe with the new federal administration that we'll get to the bottom of this. Chickens Underground.
You know what? When you started your story, I thought this was legitimate.
I told you this was fun.
And it just kept going on and going on and going on. Where is it going?
Now, Paul, I looked at the records. I've told 4 different chicken stories on your show, but I'd never done a CSI PU story. So there is that series of investigation stories.
That's quite a tale you came up with. And how'd you keep it all straight?
Well, Chickens Underground. This is serious.
All right. That's good, Larry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That kind of got our mind going in a different direction.
That's right. That's good.
Totally different direction,
Good.
which is good for all of us. If people want your songs or stories,
brownstory@hotmail.com.
brownstory@hotmail.com. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
And giving us a little chuckle. We'll see you tomorrow. Wear that mask when you go out. pepperpmissouri.edu. Bye-bye.